Hey there guys, Portal Master 9351 here, and in this video I am going to be talking about the second half of all of the Skylanders Imaginators Sensei backstories. So we've got the final 16 characters here that we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to start with the guest stars, and then I'm going to move back into the characters that are on the Skylanders Creator app. So anyways, let's start with Crash Bandicoot. A wormhole opens in Skylands, and the great Aku Aku appears. He comes to announce the once in 2 decades synchronization celebration. It is the time when all the worlds align perfectly, and they are having a huge party in the Wumpa Islands and want to invite the Skylanders. But Dr. Neo Cortex has created a sinister machine to harness this incredible energy for his own evil purposes, only to watch it go completely haywire. Now Dr. Neo Cortex must partner with Crash Bandicoot to stop the machine before the Wumpa Islands are completely shaken apart. As for Neo Cortex, we've got the same thing pretty much right here. So yeah, there's that. Anyways, let's jump into what we have for the Skylanders collection, or the Skylanders Creator app stuff. So let's start with Clobber. Clobber was once a great pharaoh who ruled the Golden Desert long ago. That was until his 7 jealous brothers buried him in an underwater tomb while he was sleeping, but the remaining brothers still fought among themselves, and their infighting ultimately led to their kingdom falling apart and the family name being lost forever. Almost, because Clobber eventually rose from his watery grave, and when he discovered what his brothers had done to their kingdom, he hunted them down and clobbered them. This was how he came to the attention of the Golden Queen, who now ruled the desert herself. She recruited the Clobber into her gang of Doom Raiders, but when the Skylanders defeated them once and for all, Master Eon thought that perhaps there was more to this mummy than meets the eye. He gave the old pharaoh a chance for redemption, and since nobody clobbered better than Clobber, he was the perfect choice to be a sensei trainer for the brawler class. Now let's move on to, not Pinata, Sickle. At first glance, it is easy to be frightened by Sickle. Some say it's his imposing stature that freaks them out. Others are unnerved by his menacing hood. But most just try to stay away from his long, sharp scythe, and it didn't help that he had a bad habit of disappearing and suddenly popping up behind unsuspecting people. In fact, the trap masters that locked him away in Cloudcracker Prison hoped they would never have to see him again. But Master Eon thought that there might be a chance for Sickle to change his ways. Everyone said Eon was crazy, but after spending time with this mysterious creep, Eon learned that Sickle was actually not a bad guy, just really super spooky. Sickle took his job of terrifying others seriously, and Eon believed that perhaps he could bring a similar dedication to teaching others as a sensei. Plus, he figured that Skylanders in training would certainly pay attention in his classes. This is all proven true, and Sickle now teaches Skylanders Imaginators to definitely hang on to his every word, or else. Now Kingpin. Kingpin hails from a militaristic unit of penguins who protect the Cloud Melt glaciers. During an epic battle, Kingpin was trapped in an avalanche and had to take refuge in a nearby cave for the remainder of the winter season. During his solitude, he was visited by a mysterious Yeti master named Snowwa, who began teaching him an ancient combat style known as Flipper Fu. Kingpin was already a skilled fighter, but the wise teacher helped him to understand the spiritual and philosophical nature of warfare, turning the penguin into an unstoppable force. When he finally emerged from the cave, tales of his newfound abilities spread far and wide. When Master Eon caught wind, he recruited Kingpin into his top-secret training program, where he quickly rose up the ranks to become leader of the Skylanders Senseis. Years later, Kingpin returned to the site of the avalanche to thank his teacher, but no evidence of the Snowwa or the cave was ever found, leaving many to wonder if the Yeti had ever existed at all. Next, Mysticat. For centuries, Mysticat and the Great Sphinxes guarded the entrance to the Enchanted Desert with their famous riddles, which few could solve. Mysticat was a curious creature and had his own question that even he could not answer. He was puzzled as to why others would want to enter the Enchanted Desert so badly, so he decided to venture himself to find the answer, but instead of finding answers, he was attacked by wandering gypsies and evil sand raiders that scoured the desert for lost treasure. After fighting them off with his impressive sorcery skills, he returned to the elders and explained what happened. It was then that they revealed to him the true nature of the desert to him. They told him that what he saw was a vision of his own destiny, and that he was meant to protect all of Skylands, not just the Enchanted Desert. Master Eon was then invited to enter the desert to meet Mysticat and see if their two destinies were intertwined. When Eon emerged the next day, it was clear to him that Mysticat was meant to be one of his best senseis, and that he would one day shave his beard, but he kept that part to himself. Next up, Pinata. Growing up, Pinata's best friend was the legendary Unicorn, a unicorn with a churro horn that sprinkles magical cinnamon from time to time. How interesting. While the cinnamon donuts for breakfast were incredible, Being so sweet and delicious made them both easy targets for those looking for yummy treats, but Pinata had no problem protecting both of them with his giant sucker. One day, the unicorn went missing and Pinata was beside himself. He tried desperately to find his buddy, but to no avail. That's when the Doom Raiders tricked him into thinking that the Skylanders were behind it all, and Pinata fell for it hook, line, and sinker. He joined up with a band of villains and ventured out to get revenge on the Skylanders, but was eventually captured by the Trap Masters. Master Eon explained that the Skylanders had nothing to do with the unicorn's disappearance and said that he would help Pinata find his friend if he became a Skylander Sensei and train new Imaginators in the way of smashing. Pinata agreed, and the search for the missing unicorn continues. For Pitboss, Pitboss was a member of a powerful order of snake philosophers that lived high up in the Great Twisty Mountains. Travelers would come from miles around to make the treacherous climb to seek out the snake's wisdom. Each visitor was permitted to ask one question, but Pitboss became alarmed when the same question was asked by several people: how to deal with the growing threat of chaos. With such a great concern, Pitboss knew that it was time for action, not words. He left the Order of the Snake in search of this threat, and soon it was clear that chaos was worse than Pitboss had imagined. Knowing he could not stop chaos on his own, Pitboss joined the Skylanders, and due to his great wisdom and mystical powers, Master Eon enlisted him into the Sensei program as a sorcerer master. Next up, Robo. There is no record of the person who originally built Robo. By the time his basic systems were fully online, his creator was nowhere to be found. Robo searched far and wide, but since his programming was incomplete, he was unable to communicate with anyone. Eventually, he stumbled upon the remains of an old lair that had been built by Chaos, and discovering a strange device inside the matter refractoring room. Robo was able to access the device and downloaded a staggering amount of information from it, which gave him the ability to speak, albeit in a slightly strange language, as well as shoot driller arrows with pinpoint accuracy. He also acquired a lot of details about Chaos himself, even though Robo's past was a mystery. His future became quite clear. His prime directive was to seek out Master Eon and help fight evil. With his incredible archery knowledge and skills, there could be no better trainer for the bowslinger class, so Eon made him a sensei on the spot. Next up, Starcast. No one knows where Starcast came from, including Starcast himself. He was first seen falling out of the sky and landing directly on top of Master Eon after he had made a wish for a ninja master to train the new generation of Skylanders. While it appeared that Eon's wish had come true, it was later revealed that Pop Fizz had simultaneously made a wish to get out of anger management lessons with the old Portal Master. Therefore, it was impossible to determine if Starcast was the result of one wish or the other. But after a brief display of martial arts, it was clear that the mysterious Starcast was a very skilled ninja warrior. And seeing as how Master Eon had to walk around in crutches for the next few weeks, it was also clear that Anger Managed class would have to be postponed. So it was a win-win. Next up, Taekwon Crow. Taekwon Crow was once the leader of a villainous band of air pirates in the Sky Highlands, but pirating was never his true passion. All that really mattered to him was stopping anyone that dared to do anything that he deemed out of character. If a cake maker dared to make a pie instead, he would stop it. If an ordinary sheep dared to baa longer than normal, he would end that nonsense right then and there. Taekwon Crow could not even stand it when anyone even dared to do anything. But after he was captured by the Trap Masters, Master Eon dared him to change his ways and use his abilities for good instead. At first, Taekwon Crow was angry that Eon would dare make such a bold suggestion, but he soon realized that he could actually serve as a role model to young ninjas and help them avoid the dark path that he went down. Forsaking his katana for more traditional roundhouse fire kick, Taekwon Crow now defends Skylands from whoever dares threaten it. Next up, we have Tidepool. Lots of daring in that last one. Long before she became a sensei, Tidepool was an undercover agent for a top-secret organization known as the Aquamarines. However, one day she was betrayed by her superiors, who were part of an even more top-secret organization intent on destroying Skylands. Using her spy training, Tidepool made it her personal mission to seek out every member of this evil shadow group and bring them to justice. This did not go unnoticed by Master Eon, who felt that someone of her caliber would be perfect to train new Skylanders as a sensei of the Quickshot class. However, Tidepool was not easily convinced that she could even trust Eon and the Skylanders after being deceived by her last organization. To earn our trust, she requested that everyone pass a truth test and that she would everyone would pass a truth test that she would conduct. Thankfully, all of the members of the Skylanders Academy passed with flying colors, except for Flynn, who insisted that he was 50% Mabu and 50% enchilada sauce. Tidepool felt that he was 100% meathead. Next up, TriTip. Long before he became a sensei, TriTip wandered Skylands searching for the mythical warping walnut tree, rumored to never be at the same place long before moving to a new location. After many years, he found the tree, and just before it vanished again, he took from it a golden walnut, which was said to reveal life's purpose to those who could open it. But to his dismay, the enchanted walnut could not be cracked no matter how hard he struck it with his thick head. Realizing that only a weapon of immense power could crack the magical shell, and not his head, TriTip forged a mighty mace and trained with the greatest warriors to become the ultimate master of smashing. But on the day when he was finally ready to open the shell, he paused. It was then TriTip realized his true purpose, one that the unopened walnut had been teaching him all along. His purpose in life was to use his skills to protect Skylands. He then gifted the unopened walnut to one of his students and left to join the Skylanders. Next up, we have Wildstorm. By the time he was 10 years old, Wildstorm had already mastered the Airblade. With no family of his own, he spent much of his youth traveling throughout Skylands, offering his combat services to the highest bidder as a soldier of fortune. On one such occasion, he was hired by Chaos to break into a pirate outpost in Sky Highlands to steal their legendary gold detector. But little did Wildstorm know he was only being used by Chaos to scout their defenses, and he was captured by the pirates. While imprisoned in the highest tower, the powerful winds blew through his cell, fueling his anger. But Wildstorm would not be contained. Harnessing the storm's energy, he grew 3 times his size and exploded out of his prison, vowing to put a stop to Chaos once and for all. Soon after, he met Master Eon, who agreed to help him, provided Wildstorm would share his skills in swordsmanship with other Skylanders as a sensei of the Knight class. Next up, we have Wolfgang. Wolfgang wasn't always a werewolf. He was once a handsome, brilliant musician set to marry a beautiful princess. Before the wedding, he planned to unveil his ultimate symphony to all the greatest music aficionados in Skylands. Convinced they would love it and instantly hail him as the best composer ever. But they didn't. They hated it. And even worse, it actually hurt to listen to. He had unintentionally discovered the musical note for pain. Being shunned like this drove Wolfgang utterly and completely mad, physically transforming him into the werewolf he is today. With the princess no longer wanting to marry him, he turned to a life of crime, terrorizing the local subjects and using his evil music as a weapon. The Golden Queen took note of this and realized that Wolfgang could make a powerful ally if she could control his rage and keep him in line. But when they were both captured by the Trapmasters, Eon gave the two villains a choice. Either go back to the newly reformed Cloudcracker prison, or become Skylander senseis, teaching a new generation of Imaginators their formidable battle skills, as well as how to stay clear of a life of crime. They accepted the deal, but first had to prove themselves by rearranging all the books in the Academy's library, a task which took almost 2 years, almost driving Wolfgang mad again. But he got through it and realized that he could earn more respect as a sensei training the Bowslinger class than he ever could as a musician. And finally, we have Chaos. With Chaos having discovered the power of mind magic to create Doomlanders, one of his first creations was none other than a clone of himself. Figuring that no one in the universe, including the Skylanders, could ever stand up to more than one Chaos, he unleashed his clone in a quest to take over Skylands. But to Chaos' surprise, the clone, also being Chaos, wanted victory for himself. As a result, he decided to fight against his creator, in turn helping the Skylanders in their endeavor to defeat the real Chaos. So, that is it. That is all of the Skylander Imaginators Sensei's catchphrases. I do hope you enjoyed this. If you want more stuff like this, whenever I'm able to make it, I will definitely do that type of stuff. Like I said, I do hope you enjoyed this. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys right now. This has been Portal Master 9351. Stay tuned for Imaginators coverage coming very soon. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!